What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is about the one, the only, the Shohei Ohtani, arguably one of the best baseball players to have ever played the game. Arguably, when it's all said and done, he may be the best baseball player to ever play the game. But today's video is unlike most other videos. We're diving deep into Shohei's early childhood, how Shohei actually became Shohei Ohtani, the making of the Japanese superstar. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. So, first and foremost, just absolutely a beautiful picture of a young Shohei, both as a baby and as a swimmer. And that's kind of where his athletic journey begins. So his mom was a national level badminton player. So Shohei grew up playing badminton a ton. He also grew up swimming a ton. And this is, and by the way, there's a lot of Japanese names and obviously Japanese words in this video and what I'm about to pronounce. Cut me some slack. I'm not Japanese, so I will probably mispronounce a lot of these words. It is what it is. But in this first quote, his childhood friend Daiki Sasaki says, "When I was in the 6th grade, Shohei, who was in the 4th grade, swam in the same course as me and felt his athletic ability up close." So obviously Shohei was very gifted growing up athletically. You could tell from the quote he was swimming in a 6th grade course as a 4th grader. And then one thing that stood out to me was his playing of both badminton and swimming as a young kid before he actually played baseball. So listen to this. Shohei says, "I liked both badminton and swimming, so I think I could have gone any way I wanted. But baseball was the first thing I thought looked cool and I had the most confidence in. My mother let me do what I wanted to do as I wanted to do it. Badminton is a sport of hitting feathers at the right time, and swimming is good for building strength and softening joints. Neither is unrelated to baseball, and the two sports may have helped develop basic baseball skills." And they actually did develop Shohei's basic baseball skills. His father talks about it extensively. He says that swimming helped Shohei with elasticity and with flexibility and is ultimately what contributed to his incredible pitching mechanics early on. And I'm going to just say this real quick. I'm going to take a pause in breaking down Shohei's early childhood and just say, and this is a tangent for another video, but just bear with me. There's been a lot of talk recently about the state of amateur sports in North America, particularly in the United States and Canada, and how kids are now being forced to specialize early on, specialize in just one sport. So if you want to become an NBA player, you better start playing basketball at 5 years old. Now, we know that that's not true because there are multiple examples of amazing NBA players who didn't start playing basketball until until later on in their life. And it's not just basketball, it's football, take any sport, soccer. I do think there's something to be said from just Shohei's journey, from athletes that I've spoken to, about playing multiple different sports early on and the advantages that can bring. Shohei's father literally credits swimming for developing Shohei's incredible pitching mechanics early on. Had Shohei not done swimming, would he have had the incredible pitching mechanics that he did in high school and has still to this day? Right? Like, we don't know. Like, Antonio Gates is a perfect example. He had the legendary, like, almost, box out stands in the end zone, something that he attributes basketball to helping him develop. Now, he was also a very big body, but again, you get my point. There are multiple different things that you can take from different sports that ultimately all contribute to you becoming the best version of yourself in a specific sport that you end up pursuing long time. So anyways, rant over, tangent aside, that's a whole nother topic for a different video. Just wanted to point that out. Now, his father was an amateur baseball player, and his older brother also played baseball, so it was natural for him to be interested in baseball. Shohei also says, "I wasn't told to play baseball, I did it naturally." There's a questionnaire that Shohei filled out when he came to play at a local children's center around that time. His favorite sport was, of course, Yaku. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Baseball. And his dream, he also wrote, "Yaku no Senshu, baseball player." So very early on, Shohei knew that he wanted to be a baseball player. And once he picked up the sport, he was like, all right, this is my dream. I want to become a professional baseball player. Now, this is one of my favorite stories in all of Ohtani's childhood. Actually, my favorite story is going to come at the end, so make sure you stick around for that. But probably second on that list is this journal that Shohei and his father kept. Now, this was like very early on. Apparently, they stopped writing in this journal when Shohei was in 5th grade. So basically, for most of elementary school, or how we define elementary school here in the United States, Shohei kept this journal with his dad where he would write things like great control up to the 3rd inning or chase too many high pitches. And so Toru is Shohei's dad, and he says it covered both good and bad points. He says we did it for several years until Shohei was in the 5th grade or so. We ended up filling 2 or 3 notebooks in all. Toru says the purpose of the exercise was to teach his son to analyze his play and to make adjustments on his own. Everyone commits errors or strikeouts, he explains, but I wanted Shohei to think deeply about what he was doing on the field and express this in words to make him more mindful of his play. That's just why, like, really think about that. Shohei was in elementary school, right? 3rd, 4th, 5th grade. Think back for all of you who played sports early on. Were you keeping a journal, after every game, writing in it and analyzing your play and being like, oh, shouldn't have taken that shot there. Here's what I can do next time. Or, hey, really great move in this specific instance. Let's keep that up. Like, just a different level of attention to detail and care. And a lot of it is credited to Shohei's dad, Toru. Just incredible stuff, man. I mean, you could tell very early on that Shohei took baseball very seriously, and it's this mindfulness and this ability to write down and analyze his play that he's carried on to literally today. Like, he's just carried on throughout his entire baseball career. Now, one of the most interesting things about Ohtani, obviously we see Ohtani now, and he's this, pretty big guy, obviously athletic, fit. But in high school, he wasn't that way. It says he was built like a matchstick, long and skinny. Hitting puberty, he had shot to a towering 190 centimeters tall. All my non-metric people, just bear with me for a second. But he had barely any meat on his gangly 63-kilogram frame. In the gym, he struggled to hoist just the bench press bar. Still, his fastball was already pushing 140 kilometers. And I did some conversions here just for everyone, again, for all my non-metric people. 190 centimeters, 6'3", 63 kilograms, 139 pounds. So in high school, Shohei was about, 6'3", 139 pounds, and yet he still threw an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Again, goes back to swimming, the mechanics, the flexibility, elasticity, like how much of that did contribute to Shohei's incredible pitching mechanics. Clearly, it seems like it contributed quite a bit. And then, like I said, his own father admits to that. So 6'3", 139 pounds in high school, still threw an 87-mile-an-hour fastball. Now, this is taken from the Inner Game newsletter. Again, all the links to these articles, to the newsletter where I took a lot of this source material from will be in the description. If you like this video, go check out those articles. They are absolutely amazing. Not affiliated anyway, just really fantastic pieces of sports writing. So this is the high school that Shohei went to, Hanamaki Higashi. Runs like a monastery, then an athletic program. No phones, no dating, dorm life in early mornings, meditation, and endless repetition. A culture where character gets shaped through routine and humility, where the path to excellence runs straight through boredom and self-discipline. Now, one part for this on humility, and this is insane. So Hanamaki Higashi's players live on campus, returning home for only 6 days a year. Sasaki, who was the high school baseball coach, assigns them chores. The pitchers clean toilets. Sasaki had a reason this particular assignment never changed. The mound is the most elevated place on the field, he explained. It's a stage. If you're on that stage, you receive the most attention. You get interviewed and written about the most. The coach wanted to teach his pitchers humility, but the symbolism of the task extended beyond that. If you go to a nice department store, the toilets are magnificent. If you go to a nice hotel, the toilets are important. If you see a toilet, you can see the value of a place, the purpose with which the people there approach their work. It's the most important place in an establishment, just like the mound is the most important place on the field. So Shohei would literally clean toilets, along with all the other pitchers from that high school, would clean toilets as a sign of humility. And this extends to Shohei now with the Dodgers. It says fans often share videos of him picking up trash from dugouts and stadium aisles, whether at home in Los Angeles or on the road. These gestures, unnoticed by him but noticed by the world, go viral precisely because they are unforced. He does it out of habit, not performance. In high school, his coach once assigned him to clean toilets to teach humility and attention to detail. Years later, that lesson endures in his small gestures of care, proof that discipline, once internalized, becomes instinct. I just love that. I mean, that's fantastic. Shout out to Shohei Ohtani and shout out to Coach Sasaki for teaching his pitchers to do that. Just insane. And also, it's more of a cultural thing. Like I noticed that on the large scale with Japanese fans. I just went to the World Baseball Classic. I watched Japan versus Venezuela. And my friend and I were joking around how, like, there was those videos of Japanese fans in the World Cup, and they would be picking up trash from their section after every World Cup game that Japan played in. They would leave the place absolutely spotless. It's honestly, it is very commendable. It's very respectful. I just love that Japanese culture teaches that level of humility, and clearly it trickles down to, you know, the actual athletes and the players who are out there on the mound. So shout out Japan, shout out Shohei Ohtani, and shout out Coach Sasaki. I just love that story. Now this, if you've made it this far in the video, this is probably the best part of this entire video. So at 14, Shohei Ohtani sat down with a piece of paper and mapped out his future self. Now, this down here is called a Mandela chart. It's a 64-box grid where you write down goals, habits, traits, and values. Shohei Ohtani, 14 years old. Just remember this. As we're going through all this, just remember the fact that Shohei is 14 years old when he is filling this out. Think back to when you were 14 and what you were filling out and what you were thinking about. I can tell you exactly what I was thinking about. I was thinking about my kill-death ratio in Call of Duty. That's what I was doing at 14 years old. This was Shohei Ohtani at 14. So how this works is you have a central grid, and in the middle of that central grid is your one main goal, like the main task that you are striving to achieve. For Shohei, he wanted to be the first overall pick for 8 different teams. So he wanted 8 different teams to have him number 1 on their board. Now, adjacent to that one big goal are all the different things that he needs to basically master to be able to reach that goal. So for Shohei, body, control, sharpness, speed, 100 miles an hour, pitch variance, karma, personality, mental toughness. Now, each one of these things, these boxes that are adjacent to the number 1 goal, they all have their own separate quadrant, which dive into finer detail on how Shohei is going to master each one of these things that will get him to the number 1 overall pick on 8 different teams' draft board. So for instance, mental toughness has its own quadrant, and adjacent to mental toughness are all the finer details how Shohei is going to achieve mental toughness. Set clear goals. Don't let plays affect emotions. Calm mind, burning heart. Don't get caught up in the flow. Be considerate to teammates, etc., etc. Dedication to winning. And if you go through all of these, sharpness, hit the ball from above. Wrist strength, lead with lower body. Range of motion. Speed, core strength, turn along body axis. Lower body strength, increase body weight. Karma, greetings, pick up trash, keep room clean, show respect to umpires. Pitch variance, perfect the forkball. Sharpness of slider, pitch for finishing batters. Deep image, slow dropping curveball. Personality, emotions, likability, planning, thankfulness. Like, this is insane. Like, I'm like almost speechless that a 14-year-old kid had the wherewithal and the self-awareness to go into all the different things that he needs to master to be able to get drafted first overall by 8 different teams, and then to go into the finer details, like the day-to-day of the things that he needs to master. Like, I feel like a broken record, but this is honestly insane. Take a screenshot of this if you're watching the video. Like, I highly suggest you go through each one of these boxes and actually read them in detail, because it's one of the most impressive things I've seen from a 14-year-old kid just ever. Just the amount of self-awareness, and it ties all together, right? His dad had him keep a journal when he was very young, when he was in elementary school, and Shohei developed that self-awareness early on to be like, all right, you know, after a game, I'm a journal, and I'm going to write down all the things that I did wrong, all the things I did well, the things I could improve on. And that self-awareness carried with him to the age of 14 and is still with him now when he's with the Dodgers and he's playing the World Baseball Classic, all these different things. The swimming and the badminton early on, the elasticity, the flexibility, all contributed to his pitching mechanics, which allowed him to throw 87 miles an hour, even though he was 6'3", 139 pounds. Like, you very clearly see with Shohei's development how a lot of the things that he did early on contributed to his success later. And I know that might be like, yeah, no shit, Nick, like, obviously. But just going into the finer details of how all those different things add up to Shohei becoming one of the best baseball players we've ever seen, just fantastic. Shout out to Shohei Ohtani, man. He is truly one of one. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. I also have a podcast. It's called the Victory Degree Podcast. It is on this same channel. So the video that you're watching this channel on, if you click on it, you will see my full-length podcast along with clips from that same podcast. I also post videos like this all the time where I break down players, their upbringing, their childhood, certain lessons, certain stories that I find interesting that I think you would as well. Like, I just did a video on Russell Westbrook and why he is the most genuine superstar to be in the NBA today. So if you're interested in sports stories and athletes and all those finer things, and not really interested in like hot takes and that kind of culture, feel free to subscribe. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you didn't enjoy it, leave a comment. Let me know what I can do. Leave some constructive criticism. Like if you just tell me like, hey Nick, you suck, like this video sucks, I can't do anything with that. So if you leave a comment and it's constructive and you say, hey Nick, you know, maybe speed up this portion, or I didn't really like the part of the video where you did this, let me know, and I promise you I will take it into account. I try to respond to all of my comments, and I will make these videos better for you moving forward. So like I say, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe. If you didn't enjoy it, let me know how I can do better. And hope you enjoyed the video, and hope you have a great day.